Hey kids, Mr. Fly here, hope you're well. Now I've been lucky enough over the last 18 months or so since I ramped up my YouTube activities to ride dozens of retro bikes. It's my current favourite category of bikes. If you stick around and stay tuned to this video, I'm going to give you my top 5 retro bikes that you can buy in 2018. So I guess it's worth starting off by just saying what I mean by retro bikes. Well, what it is, it's this current fashion, well, a fashion that's been going on for 2 or 3 years now, for where manufacturers make bikes that ape back to previous models that they've made, or indeed just ape back to older bikes that maybe didn't exist but look like a bike that maybe came from 10 or 20 years ago, but have all the modern characteristics of a modern bike, so modern engineering but retro styling, if you like. And all the manufacturers make them these days, be it BMW, Triumph, Kawasaki, Ducati. Everybody has, it seems, a range of retro bikes, and there are some fantastic ones out there. It's my current favourite category of bikes. It shames me no end that I don't have a retro bike here in the man cave. I've got to put that right. So I've been thinking about this a lot recently. If I had the money, which bike would I buy out of the retro category? So without further ado, it's a very tricky one, this. Stick around and stay tuned. I'll go through my top 5 retro bikes, starting with number 5. So to number 5 on the list then, and that bike is the Yamaha XS 900. I absolutely loved this bike when I rode it. Now this is an example of a retro bike that is really just a styling exercise. It's not a bike that apes any previous Yamaha, but it does look like previous Yamahas, if that makes sense. Now it's based on the MT-09 platform. It's got the 900cc triple engine, and it's an absolute brute to ride. I really love this machine. Triple engines for me just tick all the boxes. They sound great, they're nice and smooth, but they've got character as well. And the MT-09, when it came out with the original triple that Yamaha have been producing in the MT-09 range of bikes for the last few years, really did kind of stun the motorcycling world, and I think Yamaha have played a blinder by using that in multiple bikes. So things like the Tracer 900 as well have the same engine. But anyway, in the XSR 900 it has been styled retro fashion, and I absolutely love that bike. In fact, when I rode it, I said I thought it was probably better than my Street Triple, which is a bike that obviously I absolutely love. So thumbs up to Yamaha for the XSR 900, a really nice looking bike. It's got a top quality finish, really nice touches, like the rear tail light is lovely, the instrument cluster is lovely, a really nice bike to ride. So that's number 5 on my list of the top retros of 2018, the Yamaha XSR 900. So to number 4 on my list of my top 5 retro bikes available today in 2018. And that one comes from one of my favourite stables, the Triumph. And that bike itself is the Triumph Bonneville Scrambler. An absolutely, again, lovely bike. All these bikes, because they're in my top 5, are lovely, so I should really stop saying that. But it's an amazing bit of kit. What I loved about the Bonneville Scrambler is, number 1, the styling. I just love the Scrambler styling. And all the current day Bonnevilles are really nicely made machines. Triumph have really upped their game with this latest set of Bonnevilles in terms of fit and finish, and just the overall look and styling of the bikes are fantastic, and the Scrambler is no different to that. But what really stood out for me on the Scrambler is the sound of the bike. It sounds absolutely amazing with those high level pipes, and again it looks and rides brilliant. I even tried it a little bit off-road. It is capable of doing off-road work. I'm absolutely rubbish when it comes to off-road riding, so I'm not the right person really to try it, but it can do it. Well, it has to be said, of course, this is mainly a styling exercise, so no list of top 5 retros would be complete if it didn't have a Triumph in it. And the first Triumph that I've got in my list is the Bonneville Scrambler, an absolutely splendid bike, and one that I really enjoyed riding, and I hope to ride one again soon. So that's number 4 on my list. Now, number 3 on the list is another Triumph, and this is one that kind of surprised me, because this is a bike I rode relatively recently, and it's a bike that Triumph only released last year. This is the Bonneville Speedmaster. Now, this is a bike that is based on the Bobber platform. It's got the same 1200cc high torque engine on board, but it's been tuned slightly differently for a sort of a more of a cruiser type experience, if you like. And the Speedmaster itself has got all sorts of styling changes over the Bobber. You can get it with white wall tyres that look absolutely amazing, but it's got the big old wide handlebars, the same feet forward riding position of the Bobber. But for me, it's a better bike than the Bobber. It's got the big tyres off of the Bobber Black, and it's just the little touches of chrome that it's got and so on just make it, to me, a surprisingly nice bike. I say surprisingly because it's I don't ride that many cruisers, and I don't consider myself a cruiser guy, but when I rode the Speedmaster I thought, hang on a minute, I think I've been turned. I could now be a cruiser guy. So I mean, I haven't actually ridden any Harleys yet, and I've got to put that right, I know, but for me that Speedmaster kind of turned me. So number 3 on my list is the Triumph Bonneville Speedmaster, a fantastic retro bike, lovely lazy riding, great sound, goes really well, ride it all day comfort, really nice bike, really like that one. So to number 2 on my list of my favourite retro bikes of 2018. Now this is a bike that again comes from a long line of retro bikes. This is the BMW R9T, and specifically I'm talking about the standard bike here. The bike that BMW originally launched as the R9T, the bike that I won't call as the basic bike because it really is the top of the range bike. Since the R9T came out a few years ago, about 3 or 4 years ago now, BMW brought out many variants, and I've ridden all of them, I'm glad to say. I've ridden the Scrambler, I've ridden the Urban GS, I've ridden the Racer, to name but a few. And they're all lovely bikes. I love all the R9Ts. They've got bags of character. The big old air-cooled twin-cylinder engine thumping along just feels absolutely brilliant, and I love all the bikes. And they've all got slightly different styling cues, but I think the R9T, the standard bike, for me is the favourite one, just because it's such a classy machine. When you look at all the details on it, again, a bit like the Triumph Bonnevilles, the fit and finish is absolutely top class on the BMW R9Ts. Really beautiful bike, and bags of character. More character than the Bonnevilles, which is why I think they've come higher on the list for me. But really, really nice bike to ride. They're not bikes that, when I say they've got a lot of character, it's not in a bad way, it's in a good way. And if you've not ridden an R9T and you like retros, then you've definitely got to give one a go, because they are lovely bikes. Now, it was quite hard for me to choose my favourite of all the R9Ts, because the Racer was another one that surprised me. Very extreme riding position, but again, a really, really nice bike to ride. But I think on balance, overall, if I was going to buy an R9T, it would be the standard bike. It looks beautiful, it rides great, and it really is a lovely machine. So that's number 2 on my top 5 list of retros available in 2018. So cue the drum roll, because it's time to reveal my number 1 retro bike available in 2018. And for those of you that have watched a few of my videos in the past, this may come as no surprise, but to me it's a little bit left field, because it's a bike that only came out in the last year, and it's from a manufacturer that isn't known for making lots of retros. So that bike is the Kawasaki Z900 RS. What a beautiful machine. It's both beautiful to look at and beautiful to ride. Its finish and build quality is certainly equal to the likes of the Triumphs and the BMWs. It really is a lovely machine to look at close up, and also it's a lovely machine to ride. It feels thoroughly modern when you ride it. The brakes are good, the engine is beautiful and smooth, it sounds great, it looks fantastic. To the untrained eye, you'd say that was a bike from the 1970s, but when you're riding it, it feels thoroughly modern. I absolutely love that machine. So if I were buying a retro bike today, I think it would be that one, but I have agonised over it. It is a very difficult category. All right, let's just have a quick recap. Okay, recap time then, if I can do this without falling off the bench. Number 5 was the Yamaha XS R900. Beautiful triple engine, rode absolutely beautiful, really good hooligan bike. Number 4, Triumph Bonneville Scrambler. Looks fantastic, sounds great with a 270-degree firing order. A beautiful bike, you can take it off-road too if you want to. Number 3, Triumph Bonneville Speedmaster, the bike that may have turned me into a cruiser guy after all. Haven't yet ridden a Harley, but nonetheless, love the Speedmaster, particularly with the white wall tyres. Number 2, BMW R9T. I love all the R9Ts, but the standard one for me is still the bike to have. And top of the tree, number 1, Kawasaki Z900 RS. What more can I say? Go and ride one, they're beautiful. Okay, before I go, just a few disclaimers, because doing a top 5 of anything is always very contentious. So number 1, I would just say, this is just my personal opinion, okay? I'm not saying that these bikes are better than others on the market. It's just, I've ridden these bikes, they felt great to me. If I were paying the money, these are the bikes that I would buy. So just say that. The other thing I would say is, of these top 5, I've ridden about, just totting up all the bikes, I've got a list here of the retro category that I've ridden. I've ridden sort of between 20 and 30 of these bikes, and it was very difficult indeed to come up with the top 5. Those top 5 that I listed, you could basically put a cigarette paper between them all. If I bought any of those, I'm sure I'd be happy with any of them, and they really were you know, a difficult bunch to separate out. I think if I bought any one of those, number 1, I'd be happy with it, but number 2, I'd always be thinking, if I bought the Kawasaki, would I have rather had the BMW R9T? If I bought the R9T, would I have rather had a Triumph Speedmaster, and so on. They are that close. I guess the answer is to get one of each, or to work your way through them all, but at the moment, as I say, retros are my favourite categories. And the other thing, is by way of a disclaimer, is of course I haven't ridden them all. So again, looking down the list here, I have ridden things like the Royal Enfields, of course, and it'll be the Royal Enfield Classic 500, which was my favourite, but didn't make my list. But some of the bikes I haven't ridden are things like the new Honda range, the CB1100X, for example, the new Ducati Ducati Scramblers. I've only ridden the original Scrambler. I haven't ridden some of the new versions, the Desert Sled, etc., the big Scrambler, so they haven't been ridden yet and have got to be done. So this may not be the definitive top 5. It's as it stands at the moment based on the bikes I've ridden to date, but maybe I'll revisit this next year, hopefully having ridden some of those other bikes, and maybe the list will change. Who knows? Maybe I'll have a retro bike in the man cave by then. I really hope so. That would be fantastic. All right, I hope that's been of some interest. Look forward to hearing your comments. I know this is going to throw the cat amongst the pigeons. Look forward to reading those, and I'll get back to you if I can, and look forward to speaking to you next time. Until then, this has been the Missington Flyer. Cheerio. We're working with our partners Speedo Angels throughout July to give you 20% off the entire range of dashboard screen protectors, and get yourself one extra free fitting kit when you use the discount code Missington. Just go to www.speedo-angels.com.